This is Two Blokes Talking Electric Cars with Stephen Fennick and Trevor Long. Thanks to NRMA Insurance and Uniden.
We do thank them, proudly supporting Two Blokes Talking Electric Cars. NRMA Insurance also helping 3 million Australians protect the things they love, and Uniden Smart Dash Cams making unbelievable award-winning dash cams.
Yeah.
And you can read more about them at techguide.com.au and EFTM.com, and you can check them out at uniden.com.au. We'll tell you more about them shortly. Stephen, just great to see you, mate.
It is lovely to see you as well, Trev. It has been a big week. Lots going on. A lot of. I think the interest level. What do you love at? The interest level of EVs. Since we've been doing this show,
Mate,
I think has sort of gone up a little.
You know
bit.
what we're going to plot?
You
We're
know?
going to plot the sales and Two Blokes Talking Electric Cars.
It's all because of us. That's right.
You reckon?
So, mate, it's correlating. Is that the word? There's a correlation.
Causation.
There's a correlation of since we introduced the show a few months ago, and sales have seemed to be ticking up. And I think, you know what, it's from us talking to real people, owners, people are thinking of jumping in. Yeah. People
look,
all
the reason we do the calls is because our background is in talking to people on Talkback Radio.
Yep.
We've done it for decades but a very long time.
Long time.
Feeling really old saying that. But anyway, I think it helps expose the questions, the concerns, but also the hype and the excitement that people have.
Experiences are different. People's taste is different. Some people like a certain type of car, others want something bigger, like a better range. So there's all these variables, and they're brought up in all the interviews that we do with all our listeners. So we all benefit, I think, from that information.
I think we do. And look, we all benefit from the nickname the Toad that was given recently to the Model Y.
Wow.
We'll continue
Trevor
to use
agrees
that.
with that. He agrees with it.
Rubber stamp.
Said it from the word go, I've got to say.
Mate.
He's been pretty consistent with his disapproval of
I was saying it in the States before they were even here. So, trust me.
Still very popular, though.
Very much so. Anyway, let's get to your calls. If you've got a tech question. No, not a tech question. If you've got
That's
an EV
wrong
question.
podcast, mate.
Oh, mate.
Wrong podcast.
It's a vocal
It's not EFTM.
crutch.
Come on, mate.
It's a vocal crutch. You know what that is? Where you just kind of go back to it?
You just fall into it again.
I do.
Yeah.
And
it's
it's
not
a similar
EFTM,
format.
mate. You're not recording EFTM. You're with me for a start,
Thanks,
so
mate.
that's not EFTM, all right? Not about podcast EFTM. Tech Guide, a bit better than that, but, you know.
Oh! Leave a rating or review.
Oh, yeah.
We'd love to hear from you.
They've been doing that. Yeah. But this is the electric car podcast, just to be clear.
Thank you, Stephen.
Okay?
Thank
All
you.
right?
If you've got a question about electric cars, you want to buy one, you're loving yours, you're concerned, you're right on the edge.
Yes.
We
You're
can
about to pull the trigger.
And let me tell you right now, I'm confident
we can push you towards.
But I'm confident we'll be genuinely honest with you. If we need to push you over the edge, we will.
Yeah.
If we need to pull you back and say, listen, it's not ready, it's not time, I will be honest with you.
We'll tell you. Yeah.
Because there may be a different solution.
There's a lot of the chats we've had, we've driven the cars that they're looking at. We've driven them, we know them, and I think we've heard in a few callers that they hear that they get reassured
Reassurance, mate.
that we've driven their car they're looking at.
It goes back to why we do the calls. I feel like a lot of the calls on the radio about a TV just a validation. It's like, mate, can you just validate my thought on this?
True.
And most of the time we do.
That's right.
So let's validate your
Trevor
thoughts.
said it was all right. I'm going to go buy it.
Mate.
Steve said it's okay. I'm going to go buy that Model 3.
You can be part of the show too. 0477 657 657.
That's a good one.
I went off early on that one.
Not the first time I hear.
No, very much so. Love taking your calls. If you've got a question about electric cars, you're in the market for an electric car.
Yep.
You've just bought one. You've sold one.
Yep.
You don't like.
You want to buy a second-hand one?
Yeah. Whatever it is, we'd love to talk to you because I believe, and I think we both believe that this ability for us to connect with real people who are in the market gives us a massive advantage.
This is
frankly,
a forum.
over.
We've created a forum for people to find information, to hear about other people's experiences.
There are plenty of motoring journos who will get lucky, get to drive every car like we're trying to do. But I don't think they're talking to real people, and that makes a huge difference to your understanding.
We're talking to real people
of the market.
Not fake people, real people.
Kristen, are you real or fake?
Oh, no, I'm definitely real.
Very real.
Oh, very good. You sound very real. How are you, Kristen?
I'm well, really well, thank you.
Now, where are you at? You looking to buy an EV?
Yeah, I've actually bought one, and I'm just waiting for it to get off the ship at the moment.
So you've ordered one, and you're waiting for delivery.
Yeah,
You're tracking the ship?
No, I've been hounding the dealer though.
Yeah. So what have you got, Kristen? What did you buy?
I bought the Volvo EX30.
Very nice.
We've got a Volvo XC40 petrol, which we love.
Yep.
But I always said to my partner, I really wish they had a smaller car, and last year it was perfect. They bought it out, and we went to an NRMA electric drive day, and I fell in love with electric cars. So
fantastic.
Here I am.
Yeah, that's interesting. And you know what? Funny enough, I have driven this car, spent a day driving the EX30, thanks to the good people at Volvo. We went down driving through the Barossa Valley, and I spent a whole day in this car, and I got to say, I'm a big fan. I think you've made a great choice there.
Yeah, I fell in love with it as soon as I saw it, and I'm getting the biggest and best, so I'm really looking forward to it.
Wow.
And so you're right. Yeah.
I'm a little bit overwhelmed and fascinated by your conversion to EVs from a very important thing that goes on. There's been that electric car show that you mentioned, the NRMA Drive Days. So did you find out about that as being like an NRMA member, and you saw it in the Open Road magazine? How did that come about?
Yeah, because we're an NRMA member and we get the magazines, and when we saw it was there, because I've always liked electric cars, but when I saw it, I hounded my partner and said, we've got to go to this electric drive day, and we went there, and we drove a Tesla Model 3 and the BYD Atto 3, and the Tesla was fantastic. I fell in love with it, so I really like the one-pedal drive, and the instant speed was just incredible. I couldn't believe it.
And so, yeah, the Volvo, the EX30, as I said, really enjoyed the car. And so you said you wanted something that was a little smaller than what you've already got. Is that right? So that's what drew you in?
The XC40 is great, and but if there was something smaller, I was on the outlook for it. And then as soon as they brought out the EX30, I just fell in love with it.
And obviously the brand, you're loyal to the brand as well. So that other car, the petrol car, served you well, and you wanted to stay in that family.
Yeah, the petrol car, it's a beautiful car. We haven't got any faults at all on it.
So what considerations did you have before you love the drive of those electric cars. What else did you think about before you pulled the trigger? Did you think about, things like charging? Do you think about range? What's your head been going through?
Yep, the range wasn't a problem because basically it's going to be what I call a shopping car. Yep. We'll do small trips in it. Yep. But the longest trip is I've got a sister in Mollymook, and that's about the furthest I'll probably ever go.
Okay.
The charging is not a problem because my partner's an electrician, and he's put in a wall charger for me down in the garage.
Oh, how good's that?
And we've got 3-phase power on the house, so it's all set up.
You get 11 kilowatts and everything.
Has he already put the wall?
Yep.
Which charger did you end up going with?
It's called a Zappi, ZAPPI.
And is that what's that capable? Has he given you do you know the figures? What can it do?
It can do up to 22 kilowatts.
Okay, that's pretty good.
But the EX30 only does 11 kilowatts.
I think the Porsche Taycan is the only car I've ever seen that does 22.
The Tesla does too. I think the Teslas do also.
Now this thing I reckon would go beat a Porsche because it does 0 to 103.6 seconds.
Hey.
There you go.
Not that I'll ever do that.
Yeah, I was going to ask.
You
You got a bit of a lead foot, have you? You like that speed, do you? That sudden acceleration?
No, I just like to get out of sticky situations when I'm in them.
Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah. So you want to be first off the lights, eh? Someone get in there.
You've bought a car sight unseen, really, haven't you? You've bought a car that was announced and there's photos and all that kind of stuff. Or what have you seen about the car?
No, I've looked online because it was released in the Netherlands, and I've been looking at all the YouTube things on it.
Yep.
And I couldn't fault it. So when we went to the dealers, we had to sign on the dotted line, but that was under the proviso that the demo, if we liked the demo, that was good. If we didn't have to go ahead with the deal.
Okay. And when have they given you a window of delivery here? How long have you been waiting?
I ordered it last September, and it's due this week as soon as it gets out of quarantine at Port Kembla.
Okay.
I'm waiting for the phone call, basically.
As soon as it gets out of quarantine.
So, yeah, it's funny because you live down the south coast of New South Wales, which is where the cars come in.
Yep.
Because I know that because I went down there and flew a drone out to look at the ship that was bringing my car in.
Trevor's a tragic.
Yeah,
he tracked his ship. I did too,
I go down the beach for a walk on a Friday, and every time I come home, there's a truckload of cars coming back up the coast to go to Sydney. So I've been keeping my eye open.
Hey, what colour did you get, Kristen?
That was exactly what I was going to ask.
It's just white, but I like white. It's nice and clean.
Yeah.
Everyone can see you coming.
I tell you what, you know how there's some colours. I drove this car, as I mentioned. They had a yellow colour. The yellow in this car looked really nice. You know how some colours suit different cars?
Yeah.
The yellow popped on this one. It really looked
yellow
good.
suits you, Stephen.
Yeah, it's really nice. But white you can't lose with white.
I'm so excited for you, Kristen. This is a big. I mean, any new car is a big deal, right? It's a lot of money to spend on something. It's the second biggest purchase you make after your house. So it's always exciting to get a new car, but this one's like next level excitement, isn't it?
Yep. No, I can't wait for it now.
So is this, Kristen, is this your car, or you share this with your partner, or the partner takes the old Volvo, you got the new one? Is that how it works, or?
No. We'll drive both of them. We just share everything.
Okay.
So basically, this is our shopping car, and then the other one, because it's petrol, my mother lives down in Victoria, so we'll be going on long trips with the petrol car.
Because you can go on long trips with the EV, you know. There's a lot of charges, public charges. You can get it. You can reach it.
Oh, yeah. We might do it as a test one day.
Yeah,
but,
we'll get
used to the car first.
Yeah, that's a great,
sure.
You know what, I love your
Good
mentality
approach.
towards it because it's a very different thing. The only regret I have about having two electric cars is it does leave me stranded with the idea that we've only got that choice, you know. You've got that backup position now, you know. In 5 years from now, it'll be a very different thing, but I think you'll think about it.
Not only that, Volvo is very dedicated towards electricity, and I can see the XC40 becoming electric down the track, so we'll just swap it and get an electric one.
I drove it. What did I drive earlier this year? It was the XE40, I think I drove. What's their electric?
Mate, I'll be honest,
bigger.
their naming conventions are difficult.
Yeah, I drove an EV, a larger SUV Volvo with a 40 in it. I know that. I did drive a larger EV, but then I went down to Adelaide with them and drove the XE30, which I thoroughly enjoyed. You will absolutely love it.
Yeah, you drove the XC40 Recharge, pure electric twin.
Yeah, XC40 is what I drove, which is also electric.
Yeah.
Well, I'll make sure that Greg from Volvo hears this call because he'll be pumped that you're such a passionate about the car and you're sitting there waiting for it. I hope the call comes real soon for you, Kristen.
I do too, but I'm assured it's not far away, so I'm busting to get into it.
And we can assure you, Stephen's driven it. It's a great choice. You've done well.
Yeah, very nice inside and out. Very good.
No, I'm super excited about it. Can't wait.
Good on you. Lovely to hear from you, Kristen.
Thanks a lot, Kristen.
All right, thanks, guys.
Good on you. Thank you for getting in touch. Lovely to hear from you. Excellent stuff. Good on you, Kristen. Look at that.
Very nice choice. I think I told you already that I really enjoyed the car. It is really beautifully finished inside.
Mate, they do a good car.
They design it. It really. It's not that minimal look. It's sort of it's a bit of a mix. Yeah, sort of it's in the middle. It's not quite minimal, not quite overdone.
Kristen made the point about the different models. Like Volvo is one of the first companies to commit to fully electric, and I think Volvo Australia, from my memory, sorry, Greg, Volvo Australia made a commitment to go fully electric before the global brand. Yes. So I think we're going electric like 5 years before. You won't be able to buy a petrol electric car in Australia before that happens in the UK and the Europe. So that's wild. One
little quirk about the Volvo EVs is you know how they've got the Google-based OS? They've got the Google-based system.
Yep.
No Android Auto
because it's assumed
because you're using Google, but right. So if you're an iPhone owner, no problem.
Just log into the apps. That's what they think.
But if you're if you're using an Android phone, you can't run Android Auto because it's already Google. But not, I found it anyway, not quite as convenient as having Android Auto at your fingertips.
There you go.
But that's just my feedback.
All right, thanks for getting in touch, Kristen, and we'll keep talking to more people every time we can on Two Blokes Talking Electric Cars.
That's the most exercise I've seen Trev do for quite a while. Should play more of these things, mate.
I resemble that comment. Taking your calls if you've got a question about electric cars. We are here to help. We can't answer every question, but we love digging under the questions and trying.
Yeah.
It helps us learn.
Yeah.
It helps the people listening
And listeners,
learn.
yeah.
It helps people listening make decisions. It helps open the minds of people listening too. So it's awesome to talk to real people with electric cars. Chris is on the line. G'day, Chris.
G'day, how are you guys?
Yeah, really, really good, mate. Where are you at in the electric journey? Looking, buying, bought?
I'm well along the journey
Oh,
now.
hey.
I've got two EVs. Got my first one
very
in.
well. Yeah, righto. 2 EVs.
Well, this novated leasing thing with the fringe benefit tax, your benefit is just too good to pass up.
Of
So,
course.
yeah. So look, we started in. I ordered a Tesla Model 3 in early 2022, but in those days you had to wait. I waited 9 months for it, so got that in late 22. And in the meantime, my wife's car, she had a Volvo XC60 diesel.
Yep.
That was due to come up, and so we had a look at, once that legislation was confirmed, we thought we should look at an EV. So, we tried, and I was trying to persuade her to get another Tesla. We looked at Tesla Model Y, which had just come out. But we also looked at the Volvo XC40 Recharge
Great car.
EV.
I've driven that.
Yeah,
Nice car. Yep.
it is a great car, and she chose that. I think a little bit of familiarity because it was a Volvo. It felt familiar. It didn't look odd. Like I think she wanted to look a little less conspicuous.
Trevor agrees with you, mate. Trevor has never been a fan of the Model Y. In fact,
It's just exciting that people see the same thing. And you remember what a previous caller said?
What do you call it? A
toad.
It looked like a toad. That's the caller's words, not ours. The caller said that. So you end up going with
I call it a jelly bean. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So you now got a Volvo and a Tesla.
Yeah, nice.
Correct. Yeah. Do you know what? One of the she liked the Volvo because the size was a little, it's a little smaller, a little easier to get around in.
Yep.
But do you know what? One of the big features that sold her was it had a retractable blind over the glass roof.
Of course.
Which the Tesla doesn't
Yeah.
have, right?
No, it's just there. The Tesla's just there, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, but look, it's actually quite good to have two different brands and sort of compare and contrast.
And what infrastructure did you put in, mate? 2 electric cars. You need some infrastructure at home.
I do. So we already had solar, and we actually already had put in a Tesla Powerwall as well.
Okay.
But in terms of charging, I got a Tesla wall connector. So got that installed. So 7 kilowatt. I've got single phase. So. 7 kilowatts. And look, we don't do huge Ks, so it's very rare that we want to charge both cars at the same time. So it works out well. I'm on one of those EV plans, that's 8 cents a kilowatt overnight. So the advantage of that is it fills up the car overnight, and I fill my Powerwall so that I get cheap electricity during the day. So
of course. And so do you say you got a Tesla wall charger? So that now charges other cars apart from Teslas now, does it? The latest version of
it does, yeah. Yeah, the latest generation can charge anything with a CCS port, yeah.
Okay, and so the Tesla is what you drive, and your wife has got the other car, the Volvo. Do you ever swap cars, or you pick and stick to one?
We do. Now, the good thing is I love my Tesla and I like her Volvo. She loves her Volvo and likes my Tesla. So it's perfect as well. I like the Tesla because it's more high-tech. That's why I got it.
Right.
The Volvo is probably a bit more, like it feels more comfortable, more prestige and more comfortable ride. But the Model 3 is a bit sportier.
Now, you sound to me like I'm going to make a very big assumption about you here, but you sound like someone who might be analytical and really evaluating this ownership experience.
I'm picking you're an accountant, Chris.
Oh, hang on.
Are you an accountant?
Let us know. Where are you?
I'm not.
Because you're mentioning fringe benefits tax. I'm thinking, mate, you know your numbers.
So what I want to know is, have you done much work on, are you saving money?
Yeah, look, the good thing about the Tesla app is it tells you. And so, look, just last year, I think I spent $400 on charging, and I would have spent in a petrol car $2,500. Wow. So, and I even think my 400 was a bit high because it assumes that I'm using the average electricity rate at home, when in reality I'm often doing it through solar or I'm doing it at 8 cents. So it's
And what have you done with the cars? Have you stretched the legs? Have you gone on a drive?
Yeah, I have. I just recently I went to so I live in Melbourne. Went to South Australia, went to Robe, and then to Adelaide and back. So it was about 2,200 k's, and I was a little worried initially about the fact there's no spare tire in that car. But about 2 weeks before I did that big trip, I was actually on a trip to Gippsland, and I got a puncture in regional Gippsland. And I thought, well, I'm stuffed now. I know that if I was in Melbourne, I'd be all right. But you know what? Within an hour, I was back on the road again.
Wow.
The Tesla roadside assist was amazing. That I just used my app to tell them I needed help. They called to confirm where I was. And then they sent some guy in a Land Rover, turned up with a Tesla wheel, and so they seem to have agents everywhere.
They do. Yeah, I had the same experience. I've had I had a Tesla Model S for 5 years and had two punctures. One was late at night, like about 10 o'clock at night, and they were there within an hour. And the other was during the day, and the same as you. They brought the tyre, took my old one to repair it. Yeah, so good. So, and then you were in the middle of nowhere.
I was in the middle of nowhere, so he actually left my damaged one in the boot. The next town had a Bob Jane. I just left it there overnight while I carried on my work trip. Yep. Picked it up and came back the next day, swapped them over, and then dropped the Tesla's one back at the Tesla service centre in Melbourne.
So you don't need a spare, mate. You don't need a spare.
You don't. So that gave me comfort about doing this trip to Adelaide.
Okay.
And that went really well. I used the supercharger network the whole way, and this is. If people ask me what EV to get, there's some great cars out there, but if you're doing road trips, you can't beat the Tesla supercharger network.
Yes, you can't. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Pretty good.
We've said that a lot, yeah. And how big? Anyone else in the family? Are there kids that ride along? Do they enjoy it, or where are you at?
Yeah, we do. We've got two kids in their early 20s. They're still at home.
Okay.
They've both got cars, but they'll quite happily choose ours because it's free for them. But it's the price of petrol these days. They realise it's better.
So you let them drive your car. You let them drive your EV. Or just tell them to take the wife's car. Tell them to take the Volvo.
Well, I encourage that more. It's a Volvo. It's nice and safe.
You're not taking the Tesla. It's like Kingswood Country. You're not taking the Tesla. I just iron the mud flaps.
But my daughter's got my Tesla today. Actually, it's
very nice.
So
I'm happy for them.
A lot of enthusiasm here, right? Yeah. But let's be real. You own 2 electric cars. You have done for a couple of years. What's the real story of what's the negative? What's the negative that you really think people probably don't know, and you might not always come out with at a barbecue?
Well, I think the only negative we've really experienced is mainly with my wife's car, the charging infrastructure. If you're outside the Tesla supercharger network, she goes hiking quite a bit. Yep. She was going up into the Victorian high country. We used a better route planner to work out where she would charge, and there was a nice BP station that had a charger. We thought that should be right. But then there was, in the town of Bright, there was like one CCS 50 kilowatt charger, and we just thought, if that's down, she's stuffed. So she ended up renting a petrol car for the weekend just to get rid of the stress of what to do.
Fair enough.
So I think the charging infrastructure just needs to be a bit better, especially in regional areas.
We're hearing that from many other drivers, but it is absolutely. And you know what? The good news is they're addressing that. You're hearing about more new infrastructure rollouts, and it's moving in the right direction.
Yeah,
very
for sure.
good. All right, well, mate, good on you. Well done. This is an awesome, part of the story. You're all in, all cards on the table, all chips in, and it sounds like it's been a positive move. And I think that those cost savings will add up over time. You've obviously got the whole kit. He's obviously doing very well. 2 EVs, solar, battery, ticking all the boxes there.
Flying.
He's not an accountant though, right?
No, not an accountant. But he knows his stuff. He knows his numbers. Knows his numbers.
Well, I compare like my wife's Volvo. I think it was like 80,000 on the road. And my mate here has a Toyota RAV4, which was 47,000. My lease is cheaper than his every month because of the FPT brakes.
You've got to be an accountant then. Smart
I'm just a tighter.
Good on you, mate. Excellent.
Well done, buddy.
All right, well, thanks very much for getting in touch, mate. Really appreciate it.
All right, guys. See you
Cheers,
later.
good on you, mate. Cheers. There it is. Another EV owner and
Wow.
another
twofer,
dual EV
a twofer.
owner.
So you're like you, a twofer. Two
Mate,
EVs in the family.
There's not many of us around.
Yeah, well, I've told Jo already. I said, your next car is going to be an EV. I haven't asked her. I've told her. I said, we're getting an EV.
It'd be pretty embarrassing if you didn't. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, I know. We'll be right. We'll look after her. You mean I'm going to buy her a car? Like,
No,
this guy
just
bought a Volvo for his missus.
Mate, no, I think it's just embarrassing if I've got 2 electric cars and you were the first of us to get one and you end up buying another petrol car.
No, just if that's going to happen.
What do you think you get? Because you're a Kia. She's got
She
a little
likes
Kia at the
Kia,
moment. So, mate, the EV3.
Yeah.
They've just announced the EV3.
Mate, I like the Volvos. I when I had the Volvo, I didn't. The EX30 I drove in Adelaide.
Yeah.
And I had the XC40.
Right.
And she liked that. I said, "This is, I reckon, the car you should own. It suits her. She likes to sit on high up off the road. She doesn't like the sort of the low cars, high off the road SUV.
Have you seen the EV3?
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah.
It's a nice looking car.
Yeah, well, that could be it too.
I think that's
Mate, we're not talking for another year or two.
Between the EV3 and a Volvo. I think you're somewhere there.
Yeah,
I'll send that to Joe. 2 Blokes Talking Electric Cars.
You're loving that shirt, eh? It's a favourite shirt of yours, isn't it? You've worn that for every interview, mate.
3 weeks in a row.
Pretty good, eh? It's just coincidental that you happen to have it clean on the recording days, mate. Good luck to you.
You're lifting the lid on 2 Blokes Talking Electric Cars, Stephen?
I know you're a style, mate. I know
We're just very busy.
Yeah, it's all good, mate.
So I just keep shirts here at the studio.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you've got questions about electric cars, you want to buy one, you're in the market, or you bought one, you want to brag about it, that's totally fine. We brag about ours. I'm very happy with mine.
Love it.
0477 657 657. Leo's on the line. G'day, Leo.
G'day, Trevor. G'day, Stephen.
How are you, mate?
Excellent here, buddy. What's going on in your world? Where are you at? You own an EV or are you looking?
I own an EV and I've owned it for about 6 months.
Lovely.
And really love it. Love the car. And it's a Tesla rear-wheel drive model. Now, my question is, I do some serious Ks where I'm doing, 150 Ks a day, 5 days a week.
Yep.
So I'm just not sure how far to charge this car. Do I charge it to 100%, I should say, every day, or do I just do what I'm using and leave 20% in the tank?
Here's the thing.
When I had my Tesla, I used to charge it at 90%.
Yeah, but you had a very early Tesla. How new is yours? Do you know what type of battery you've got?
It's an LFP.
Right. Big difference.
It's a 2023. I've had it for 6 months.
So you can charge that to 100% then,
yeah, so LFPs can absolutely be charged at least once a week to 100%. There's no issue there.
Oh, yes.
But here's the thing, honestly, Leo, the first question I have for people who are worried about this is, how long are you keeping the car?
Yeah.
I keep them till they die.
Okay, well but that's a critical thing, right? I said to someone the other day, when it comes to the EV9, right?
Yep.
I got a 5-year deal on that, so in 5 years I'm going to have to pay out a balloon payment on that if I want to keep it. I'm more likely to refinance and get something else. So I don't want to degrade the battery obtusely, so I'm not ridiculously overcharging it, but in 5 years, you see very little degradation overall. It's more like a 10-year cycle problem, right?
I think it's a third owner problem, not a second owner problem,
mate.
It's a third owner problem. So I reckon second hand, you're good. I reckon say the car's 10 years old. I reckon that's when you'd have to be looking at it. But you've only had yours for how long? 6 months. So you're still pretty fresh.
If you're hanging on to it, then be smart about it, right?
Yeah.
Do not charge it to 100% every day, because I don't think any form of
maybe
battery
once a week
is great at that, right?
Yeah.
But don't be afraid to charge it to 100%, even if it happens to be twice a week. There's no issue.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Well then that's what. At the moment I've settled into this routine of charging it to, because I use about 50% of the battery to and from work.
Yep.
I charge it to about 70%, and I just drive it. I've been doing that for this week only.
Yeah.
So I'll see what sort of mileage drop or kilometre drop I get. But from you, I was getting 435
and now I'm getting 428, which is not, it's not
but
a here
I
nor there
will
really
also
in the
say,
scheme of
remember
things.
this: the as new number that they put on the sticker, right? That's the rated battery based on performance, right? That difference you're seeing of 7 kilometres there doesn't necessarily mean the battery is 7 kilometres less.
Could be
what
you
it
got a
means
heavy-
is it's
heavy
adjusting
load or
to
something,
your
yeah.
usage.
Yeah.
So our Kia EV9, if I get in it at a random time, it'll show like 600k range because my wife drives 10 minutes to work and 10 minutes back.
Yeah.
It's city driving.
Gotcha.
Whereas my Cupra, on most weeks it's pretty much around the city. But if I do Channel 9 3 times in 1 week, the next week it's going to show less range because it's a customizing that projection based on its usage. Yeah. So your usage, if your neighbour had the exact same car and you did the exact same charging regime every day, but he drove the back roads and you drove the freeway, same number of kilometres, he would have a different projection of range. Yeah. Simple as that.
Right. Okay. Well, that sounds pretty reasonable.
I think it's a tough thing, the range estimate thing, because you do need to learn your car. You need to kind of become at one with your car, with how it reacts to your driving style. But if you're doing something consistent, like your regular drive is quite consistent, then mate, you will already know broadly how much percentage. Like Stephen said to me the other day, this was a 10% drive to get here. I said to him, I'm 10% there and back to the city most days. So you know in your head the battery impact of a drive.
Well, that's very true. I've got that down pat now.
Yeah.
But but otherwise, all very good. Thank you so much.
Well, tell us about. Just give us sort of what you love and what you maybe would like to improve on the car.
Okay.
Yeah. What do you like about it first of all?
Oh, it's automation. It's just awesome in that respect. Yeah. What don't I like? Oh, just the autopilot, the way it mucks around on you sometimes. Phantom braking and so on.
Yes. Yeah.
But that's about it.
So you got autopilot already? That's already on board, isn't it? Or is that extra?
Oh no, no, it's just the standard one, not the enhanced.
Well, mate,
sounds like you're a fan. You're a nice convert.
Look after the battery. Look after the car.
No worries.
And enjoy it, mate.
No problems. Thanks very much.
Thanks Leo. Good on you, buddy. We interrupted Leo. Leo had places to go and people to see and things to do.
And he kindly made time to talk to the two gibberers.
We appreciate it, Leo.
Trevor and myself.
Gibberers, both of us.
Yeah.
Certified gibberers. But see, isn't that fascinating? He's a guy that's owned the car for 6 months, has been told certain things, has read certain things, and had this real concern. Now, I'll tell you, this is a problem with the industry, is these two types of batteries, and there'll be another type, I'm sure, soon. Yep. It's different depending on the car. So
what's the new one called? Is the
LFP?
LFP, you can 100%.
It's
once
pretty
a week.
much, don't stress like you do in an
old
Tesla.
The old lithium ion, you got to
take it to 80 and don't go below 20 too often. That kind of stuff. But I actually think that's not a bad way to operate anyway, because then when you do the 100%, you go, oh man, that range, you kind of get a new lease of life in the car as well. So that's not a bad thing at all.
Awesome.
All right, Two Blokes Talking Electric Cars.
And I realised my mic wasn't on there when I said that.
Work.
Thirsty work, yeah.
Really? Is it that thirsty work?
Wow, that was
talking and entertaining
we
people.
We spoke to a lot of people today. It was great.
You know what I love most about Kristen's call?
Yeah.
And no disrespect to Kristen, but she just sounds like your average, everyday person.
Of course.
There wasn't.
She's real.
It's not like a Two Blokes Talking Tech listener who just loves tech and getting into EVs. Not someone who's been brought in by anything other than NRMA,
a genuine interest.
Road Services member. Yeah. Sees the thing.
Drive day.
I'll go for a drive day.
Smart.
How good's that?
Smart.
And it just shows, and that's not the only person that said to us, I drove it and I loved it.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
In these last few weeks.
I've got a saying, mate. You don't know unless you have a go. And in their case, they drove it, they had a go, they liked it, and look.
Are you going to release a book of sayings?
I will do it one day, yes.
How many of them would be movie quotes?
None. They're all my quotes.
How do you validate a quote as being original?
Well, because you haven't copied it from anyone? I don't know. Pretty hard. It's like trying to trademark a word. You don't own that word. Everyone owns that word. Yeah.
There you go, folks.
But anyway, that's my little contribution.
We'll be back with more EV news, reviews, interviews, and calls. That sounds good, actually. News, reviews, interviews, and calls.
Yeah.
I like that. Let's put that on the box.
Interviews and calls, same thing, though, really, isn't it?
No, because interviews, we're going to talk to BMW in the next few weeks.
Ah, of course.
A call is just one of our great listeners.
Yeah, and it's an interview as well. Yeah, we talk to them.
No,
ask them questions.
I don't see them as interviews.
It's a chat.
I'd like to see them less as interviews. I don't want people to feel like they're being interrogated.
It's like if someone rings in.
Stephen will interrogate you.
No,
I'll just have a chat.
No, if it's talkback radio, it's a call. It's not an interview, isn't it? If it's this is talkback podcast, really, isn't it? We talk to potential owners as well and current owners.
0477 657 657. Get in touch, and we'll talk to you next week.
Bye-bye.